I think a good sign of when you know that it's just conviction and not obsession, let's say, is when you stop checking the price. So perhaps that's a
Yeah,
good thing that you don't know off the top of your head.
yeah,
Yeah, but okay, so roughly your Bitcoin position is 3 or 4 times larger than your Tesla position.
yeah,
Wow.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I think that's great.
it's grown. It's it's shot up quite a bit. So is the Tesla,
Well, yeah,
but
but the
I've
Bitcoin has been
invested.
rising faster. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I put more into Tesla over the years than I did. Or sorry, I put more into Bitcoin over the years than I did Tesla. So
Yeah.
just waiting based off conviction. So
Yeah. Well, we'll keep waiting for conviction. You mentioned 20 million per Bitcoin earlier, and I know obviously given everything we just said, we think 20 million is probably very, very way too low for Bitcoin. But you're saying 20 million is more likely than zero. Could you touch on that?
yeah, so I'm looking at my little charts here.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, pull it up or whatever.
so can I
And the
change?
funny thing is, when you explain Bitcoin to people and they aren't thinking in terms of deflation, technology, this, 20 million sounds absurd. Like, oh, there's not enough money in the world and blah, blah, blah. To them, it seems so unlikely. But, to us that are kind of thinking in those terms of a longer time horizon and trying to think of Bitcoin as repricing current assets and current debts and also future technology, to at least to me, it makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
I think 20 million, I think personally, I think Bitcoin will be 20 million US and the majority of the world will still not have bought Bitcoin. Like I think 20 million
Yeah,
is not eventually we'll get there. I think 20 million is a stepping stone of getting from here to there, just because I think the math is that simple. So did you find the article you're looking for?
I'm trying to figure out how to share my screen now.
Oh, it's at the bottom. It's at the bottom, share screen.
I do not see a share screens.
Okay. Here's something to emphasize what I just said. So this person said, I've been buying $10, 10 US worth of Bitcoin a day for 3 months, but they only own 3.5% of the Bitcoin. So 3,500,000 sats. And they're trying. And someone tagged me asking me to explain why. And this is what I said, that there are less than 2 million Bitcoin left on exchanges, which is true. We can verify that. And then you have BlackRock filing for the ETF, Fidelity, and others that are trying to come after Bitcoin. You have the billionaires, thousands of billionaires. You have tens of thousands of centimillionaires, hundreds of thousands decamillionaires, and millions of millionaires. And then you have nations, all of which can print their own currencies, an infinite amount of their own currencies. And so it's like assuming they buy zero Bitcoin, not zero Bitcoin, not one, then that's 40,000 sats per human adult today, or
Yeah,
40, 0.0004 Bitcoin. And so 3.5% of a Bitcoin is 0.035 Bitcoin. So like 3.5% of a Bitcoin easily could be like 1,000 times more than what the average person in the future would be able to buy. And that's only 5 billion adult humans. That's not including the additional 2 billion adult humans that will age and be born in the next couple of decades. It doesn't include the
yeah,
autonomous robots. That doesn't include the AI. And that doesn't
yeah,
include that the average prosperity for a person in 30 years will probably be significantly higher than the average prosperity of a person today. So it's like at a certain point, it's just absurd.
yeah.
But yeah,
It,
to clarify, for me, 20 million is nothing.
stepping
But
stone.
that's the number you said. So I want you to finish on
I
that point.
mentioned the number $20 million. That's not some sense of. So I'm of the belief that I don't think it's reasonable to put a price target on Bitcoin. There is no price target you can put on it. It's 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 infinity. The purchasing power of Bitcoin will go up forever. So I say $20 million. I have like this chart where it's like that's like 50% of current global assets, and factoring in monetary inflation, 20 so 50% of global assets, current global assets, put it at $20 million in my estimates, and factoring in inflation, it wouldn't even need to capture 50% of global assets to reach $20 million. So 20 million is a stepping stone, but in my opinion, up and forever, it doesn't make sense to put a price target on it because there is no limit on the invention of it's the only perfectly reliably truthfully scarce 100% scarce asset that humanity knows. So that asset will accrue value relative to everything else forever. There's no point in putting a price target on it. But you can say 20 million, but that's a stepping stone. $20 million, who cares? It'll go up forever. It'll probably go up pretty quickly too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, time we're recording, Bitcoin's just over $30,000 US, so it's got a ways to go. And I think to finish off here, I think something important to say is that it's not just about Bitcoin going up; it's about everything else coming down, which ultimately is a good thing. Food prices come down as a function of Bitcoin going up. House prices and housing becomes more affordable as Bitcoin goes up. And so that's the beautiful thing. That's the exciting thing, that everything gets cheaper. Everything, the prosperity gains of society are actually reflected in the base layer money, which I know this is something you said earlier that's a concern of yours. How do we make sure that the productivity gains from all these forms of technology are being distributed evenly? I would argue that the best way to do that is have this form of money that can't be manipulated, because then you can't
Yeah,
manipulate those prosperity gains to one person over another
yeah,
person. And
yeah,
so, yeah, I mean, I, I, I I guess that's why I always say get off zero to people, because it's like
exactly.
once you understand Bitcoin, you understand, oh, Bitcoin's going to skyrocket. And it's like, no, the more accurate thing is that everything else is about to collapse because
Yeah,
all these assets have been propped up for decades with fake money and artificial growth. And then we're also real growth on top of that, which is an even bigger deal than the collapse of fake money. So yeah, do you have a little tidbit to encourage people to get off zero, or and then tell
yeah.
us where we can find you?
Yeah, sure. You cut out for a
Oh,
small bit there, so
yeah.
if I didn't catch everything you said, I'm sorry. But yeah, yeah, I encourage everybody to study Bitcoin. If you're watching this, um, study Bitcoin as much as you can. There's no reason to have a 0% allocation to it. Um, there's apps where you can get free Bitcoin, literally, like the Lolly app or the Fold app. They have like this daily spin and treasure chest you can press. So you can get some free satoshis that way. But so therefore, I think there's no excuse to have literally zero Bitcoin. At least play around with it. Learn what you can. So yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at the powerful HRV. Um, maybe I should. That's my. Yeah, that's my. I've had that name forever. Maybe I should change it to
Well,
something
your
more.
argument's very powerful, so it
Yeah,
still holds true.
I still like it. Yeah.
I'm glad you're taking Bitcoin seriously. You all should be taking your self custody seriously. Where are you storing your seed phrase? Is it on a piece of paper? Is it on a sticky note? Or are you doing the right thing and putting it on a metal plate? My friends over at SteedStamp are sponsoring part of this video, and on their behalf, I'm here to tell you that they have a really good product for stamping your seed phrase on a durable piece of metal that you can keep over the long term. This prevents against your seed phrase getting lost due to water damage, fire damage, and frankly, it makes it a little more weighty and makes it a little more difficult to lose track of. And it's better psychologically for peace of mind with having it on something that you know is not just going to last as long as a piece of paper, but it's going to last indefinitely. So if your Bitcoin time horizon is for the long term and your time horizon for your seed phrase is for the long term, I highly encourage you check out Stamp Seed with their high quality experience in having Bitcoin seed plates for you. So go to the website. You can use my discount code in the description where you can get a discount off of your order of Stamp Seed seed plates. So it's a great company. You can get a great discount. Check out the link in the